It is episode 18 of Whole Lot of Wolves Season 6. I'm sadly Joshua Buckley, hosting alongside Paul LePage.
An even sadder Paul LePage.
And joining us from Fort Lauderdale, which we're not sure is in the Eastern time zone these days. I don't know. It's Chris Fisher. How's it going, Chris?
Last I checked my watch, it's 9:01 here according to Wolverhampton time. So, yes, no, technically 8:01. We're always behind here in Fort Lauderdale.
Paul, now, do English fans understand the bag over the head thing? Did they ever do that?
They'll understand it. We were never really a paper bag country. So that context to getting the paper bag from the grocery store was never really a UK thing.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, walking around with a mask on is more apt.
I mean, they have to pay to carry their groceries home for bags over there. So,
yeah,
they don't want to cut a hole
It might be better for Bulls fans now if it is a plastic bag. They might get some.
Yeah, so they had two chances for a win, boys. Haven't seen a win since I was there in April, and not even close. We'll start with the game today because, who cares? Why the hell not? Wolves versus Man U. It was 4-1. Was that the final 4-1? I stopped counting after, too much. But the news heading into it was the protest, Paul. Fans were encouraged not to enter the stadium or to their seats until after 15 minutes. Seemed to have some support, but not as much as I was hoping for. There was still a decent amount of people in the seats, I felt like.
I think for those that know and watch regularly, you'd for us certainly here in the States, you'd have looked at that and thought, well, it could just be a regular game. Unfortunately, that you can't really tell, and you probably get games in larger stadia as well for the EPL that would have a sparseness around it based on that, just purely on numbers going to that particular game depending on the opponent. So to begin with, it looked like a third round FA Cup game against an opponent that's kind of okay, but the ticket prices have been reduced, but they still would never come close to selling out. So I think a lot of what I saw afterwards in terms of the feedback and everything is quite apt. It was a start and it was a statement, and it was probably heard farther than the coverage gave it credit for, in that can only give a small indication of what was going on. It was the TV interviews around it. It's been the written pieces that have started coming out for some prominent journalists. It's the added traction and the snowball building from that. So it was a start. I applaud how it was put together. I think it was very carefully crafted and done in the right way. So hopefully it's a building block to say with even more force moving forwards that something certainly has got to change.
Does anything happen from this, Chris?
And that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, you think there's some kind of knee-jerk reaction that might come out of China with Fosun. I think they're just too far away from it, honestly. And that's kind of the scary thing. You want to see the pushback from the national media and the broader scope with the worldwide viewership that was going on with tonight's match. But I'm hoping that there is some sort of repercussion that is noticed within Fosun over there, that they actually reach out to Jeff and say, you know what, it's time to start finding a replacement. Because I know that it's not just his tie-in with Wolves. It's obviously the esports that doesn't sit very well. They have a lot of management group with this club that is focused within London. So how do they bring on potential clients and investors? I mean, we're seeing Wrexham with Ryan Reynolds and those guys bringing investors. And this is an investment company that struggles to find investment. And how can you when you're bottom of the table? So when you see this type of protest, you don't see it very much domestically here, but over there in the UK, you hope it speaks leaps and bounds, especially for a club like Wolves. And now that, like Paul's point, the national media attention it really needs to be there because the messaging, it just hasn't been succinct over the years. I saw a wonderful tweet about how can a club that speaks to loneliness and homelessness and the sleep out that they do out in the cold, really, when you turn off the TVs on your fans before the game, knowing that they're sitting down there in the tunnels waiting to come out at the 15th minute with this protest, it just really shows how out of touch they are. And you got to hope that they at least recognize that at the executive level at Fosun.
Yeah, that what you're referring to is they have TVs on in the concourse area. They turned them off for the fans that were sitting in the concourse waiting to come on in the 15th minute. How thin-skinned is Jeff Shee to do that, Paul? Like, come on, man.
What? Like, you're not surprised, which is the most horrible thing that. And at the end of the day, take the sports element from it. These are paying customers that you're treating with utter disdain. Now we can't go and spend our money. Instead of going to one grocery store, we can't go down the street and use another one because the service is crap and they haven't invested in the facilities. And all they've done to my Walmart is put a little bit more blue paint on the sign, and that's still not finished. It doesn't work like that. This is people's passion. It's in their blood. It's generational. And if you've got no grasp of that, then you shouldn't be anywhere near being an owner of a football club or an executive within one.
Paul, do you think or were you happy with the number of people who did the protest? Were you hoping for a little bit more?
No, I think it was fine. Everyone's entitled to do what they want, to say what they want, to go where they want pre-match. People are in different scenarios, what have you. That's totally fine. There was enough movement within there for even the coverage that was captured externally beyond the fans going in. I think that was good enough to generate a ripple. And certainly for our coverage as well, I was just pleased that it was referenced now on an international level, that this was a thing that was done. It doesn't matter how many people were involved. It could have been 2 people. What we wanted was that message to be heard farther out than Molineux, hopefully all the way to China, so that this change eventually happens.
And I want to add to that a little bit, Paul, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
As coming in, being an NFL sideline reporter for years, it is your duty when you're a reporter, a commentator within that job, you give the scenes of what's going on at the stadium at that game at that time. And I think the commentators did a brilliant job leading off at kickoff and talking about this, while the studio hosts pregame or pre-match weren't doing it. And obviously they're not there, boots on the ground situation. But also remember this: Sky Sports, NBC Sports here, they're all partners, not with the players, but with the ownerships of the Premier League. And so therefore, they're not going to want to cast a dark shadow over the match that they're about to show. But it is the due diligence and the work that has to be done by the commentators and the reporters at that game. And I thought they did a great job, especially the camera guys in the second half when it got to be a blowout, to show the disgust and disdain by the supporters that were in the stands.
Paul, do you think if Fosun did make a move and got rid of Jeff Shee, would that help the situation currently, or is it just to the point of nobody will be happy until they're out?
It depends, because if they got rid of him and brought in someone with a distinct history, body of work as a football executive, maybe someone of a decent profile who's been in a similar role before, I think that would be their only saving grace right now. I think they could double down on that even further if there was that change was made, and maybe another person, or however those duties are divided. So there's like a CEO, there's a COO, and then you've got Matt Jackson on the football side if he's the highest part of that. I think depending on his skill set, there needs to be possibly a conduit between ownership and the football side, just to make sure Fosun get it. That should be Jeff Shee, and he's repeatedly showing us that he's not got the capability and understanding of the game of football in England and how it operates and how transfers work and all of that to run it competently. So that person either needs to know how it's doing or have someone in place that they can delegate those duties to, allowing that individual to more concentrate on the overall business of the football side, commercial, marketing, development, and everything else that goes on within the umbrella.
Chris, you've covered some bad teams in Miami. And Florida's not exactly
in Tampa in general.
Yeah. You covered some bad teams in your career. And with that is usually bad ownership, bad management. So you may be able to answer this question. Why in the world does Jeff Shee still want to keep this job when he lives in a city where literally everyone hates him? Why would you want that?
You've witnessed it here from an NFL level with what just happened with Chris Greer with the Miami Dolphins, the GM. Right. They just finally parted ways with him after 18 years of being with the team. It's that confidence level at the ownership at the very top. When you look at Stephen Ross and with Chris Greer, that's what I see with Fosun and Jeff Shee. It's that confidence level. It's a relationship that has been built for decades and in both cases. And therefore there's a trust value there. And I think they trust Jeff to do the job that they want him to do. Now, that doesn't mean he's good at his job, because just like with the Dolphins here, and it's a great point, Josh, Fosun don't know what the hell they're doing. And just like Stephen Ross with the Dolphins, he's viewed as one of the worst owners in the NFL because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I will say this, though. Stephen Ross's leads acknowledged that and brought in people who are competent. And I don't know if Fosun's willing to do that, because it doesn't go back to China. I think it all stems from there and being on the investment side. And I don't think they're willing to put forth the trust level within someone from the UK, someone from Italy. They just tried it under Vitor and gave him the full reins, and he brought in his crew. But the trust level wasn't there. And if it wasn't there with Nuno, why would it be there with anybody else coming in now? Nuno built that trust, and I just can't see it happening. And I honestly, as much as I would love for them to get the message, I just think the Great Wall of China is there, and they're not going to be willing to put up with it from hearing an outside voice when they're making money this entire time under Jeff.
I think what's wild here is that Jeff, I don't understand what he can use to pitch why he needs to have a job, because the few years of success they have, he's now come out and said, oh, that was luck. It's like, okay, so you're saying like the 3-season stretch in the Premier League where Wolves were really good and fun and everything, you're saying that was luck. So then when the luck ran out, then that shows how just awful you are. I just can't imagine, like, you couldn't pay me enough to not be able to go anywhere in Wolverhampton. I mean, there's no way he can. You know, he stands out like me with a cowboy hat too. You know, but everybody knows who he is.
But in that same interview, he literally sat there and said on the heels of that comment that it's almost like they didn't want them to get that far ahead. They got going too quickly, and they didn't know how to keep up with this. So basically, if we go back to the championship, which obviously it looks like we will, it's hitting the reset button for them, allowing them to catch back up to maybe where their plans were. We all know the Man City expectation now is obviously bullshit. I mean, it was then when everybody knew
it was bullshit when he said it.
Right, of course.
Not from him.
Yeah, but you want to look at it with those rose-colored glasses. But, you know, the reality is, I think them seeing this as the reset button, they're like, well, this is what we wanted all along. We got too far ahead of ourselves there, and now we get to start over again and do it the way we initially wanted. That, to me, is what's scary.
You're not going to be able to get a just looking at some of the names then, and the figures that we paid for them, like Neves, Jota, Bolly, the gulf in transfer fee in that 8-9 seasons, you're probably if Neves, I think he was like 15-ish million, 18 maybe to begin with, you're easily looking at 25, 28, maybe 30 million now in the championship for a player of that caliber. They're not spending that in the Prem. Never mind trying to do a rebuilding job with that. And even the extent of, well, we can sell the two midfielders, we can probably get a decent return on Strand Larson, maybe, in the 30-35 million category. Nothing like what we should have done in the summer. You may get lucky and sell Toti Gomez as effectively homegrown, so that's 100% profit. They'll be looking at that thinking, okay, that's how we can rebuild. But then you're just totally worried because who the replacement's going to be? An Arias, Moller Wolfer, that caliber. And, maybe they'll make an average fist of a mid-performing championship team. But based on what I've seen so far, I'm really questioning even that.
And I think you have to take that a step further, Paul, because I was thinking about this after the match earlier. If you're thinking about the club, the players that will remain after the summer that come into the championship with us, right? Which one of them outside of Doc has ever tasted success wearing a Wolves badge, right? So there's no pride playing for that badge. And that's going to be a big problem. If you would have taken this back 3 years ago and you said, you know what, they saw winning ways. They know what it's like to have a Rock and Molyneux and to win for the old gold. These guys have no clue because if you look at the trajectory the last couple of seasons, they just keep going down, down, down. So it's always been that flavor of losing in their mouth. And that's a problem because now, like we saw tonight with Strand Larson, he was pissed off and Rob Edwards had to talk to him twice. Once when he came off the pitch for the substitution and the second time after the match, and he was shaking his head like a crybaby toward the supporters that were still left in the stands, even though most of them had gone.
And here's the thing, though. I was seeing some posts this weekend about, oh, this guy's not going to want to play in the championship. This guy's not going to want to. Guess what? Some of these players need to be in the championship. They're championship level players. So we're sitting there like, oh, well, I saw Moller Wolfe. They were saying, oh, he's not going to want to play in the championship. But what has that dude showed to show that he is anything more than a championship player?
It generally makes me think that some of those signings like him and Chichua were done in anticipation of them playing in the championship for the fees that they commanded and from the clubs that we signed them from. Even Tolu from Belgium, it's not like you've made a massive leap for going to Belgium to the championship. Even there's not that much disparity, so I generally wouldn't be surprised if that's the case and that's the level of income, thinking, okay, we are actually screwed because Cunha's gone, Out-Nouri's gone, we haven't got our first targets in those positions. Even Agbadu, didn't we sign him from Rennes and they got relegated? So that shows that, again, the caliber of player that we were picking up. It wouldn't surprise me in the Foggies those core players remain that were signed this season and some from last, based on the fact that they're not good enough for the Prem, but they're championship standard, and that's what they was done for this season.
Yep. That's an interesting theory. But it's still sad we spent all of that Cunha and Aït-Nouri money on that nonsense.
Correct. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. And then we just wasted money on guys like Arias. All right. Well, let's talk briefly about these two losses. The first one was a 4-1. Well, the latest one was a 4-1, just beat down, really. Could have been a lot worse. But hey, Paul, we scored a goal. Guardian came through.
And for up to the time that he got hurt, wasn't it nice to see someone actually with a bit of passion running his whatsits off, putting his foot in, trying to do something? And that was one player out of effectively 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the issue is. And it doesn't take much. It shouldn't take much for those players, the coaches, to impart something on them to get that level of output across the team. Even if we're a lost cause, there should be something within that group of players that have turned it up a notch. We still might be on the wrong end of a defeat. That's fair enough. But there's been zero new manager bounce whatsoever. Right. It's actually gone backwards in some parts, which is kind of scary to say. And we're looking at the likes of Bellegarde as the shining light, and that's one player out of all we got.
Yeah.
And of course, because Wolves can't have anything nice, Bellegarde, who's by far been the best player the last few months, could barely get off the field today after getting a knee injury. That didn't look good, Chris.
No, it didn't. And, I feel bad for him because he was, to Paul's point, he was playing his guts out there. And even the cross that came in from Muller Wolf, I mean, he really hyperextended his legs out there to get out to that ball. So, to piggyback again off Paul on this one, I find it very interesting. Even on social media during today's match, Rob Edwards so far, since he's been the Wolves manager, has been level at halftime each time so far, right? But he hasn't come away with any points. And it's not to this point, but if you look at the design of this team, Rob Edwards is really handcuffed. I went through the stats after the game and think about just the Bellegarde goal and how many crosses came into the box. I think I counted 3 on that one alone, right? That's the only damn offense and attack they seemingly have. John Arias has no pace to him. If Bellegarde isn't up there with JSL, who can't hold the ball up, and I think he is the least dribbling number 9 in all the Premier League, by the way. He's got the least amount of dribbles. But a fascinating stat to me was Wolves are 4th in the Premier League when it comes to a player going one-on-one and take-ons, right? But they've also had the 4th least amount of abilities to do that. So that tells me they're just sending the ball up there constantly, right? And then they also lead the league by far in crosses into the box. So they really have no game plan. So when you look at it and you go back to what Vitor was asking for in the summertime, that's exactly what he wanted. And that was going to be his game plan the whole time. And that's what we've seen play out with Rob Edwards. So I don't think it's fair to assess Rob Edwards on what he's had with Vitor's players, because this is the best that they're due. This is what they're built for. And he's trying to make that happen. And I don't think we're going to see Edwards ball until we're in the championship next year and they're able to get rid of half these players. And when it comes to Jean-Ricard Bellegarde, it really sucks that he went down. I mean, he did play his guts out there. The Haitian sensation, a little sac passe. He's looking forward to the World Cup opportunity. And you can see he's still riding that high. Ever since he came back from international duty, he's been really playing his ass off. So when our best player who's playing that way right now went down, it just goes to show you the chips are kind of stacked against us this year. And it's hard to find a win right now, boys. It just is.
Well, especially when we're playing defense as swimmingly as we are. That first goal, not really sure what Andre was doing. That was brutal. And, Agbadou, whatever. The goal that Mason Mount scored, nobody's even looking. And Sam Johnstone, does he know that goalies are supposed to stay in the goal? Because it just seemed like as soon as something was coming, he's running out of the box like greased up deaf guy from Family Guy. I'll go get you. Paul, which of those goals was the worst? The Andre Agbadou debacle, Mason Mount unmarked, or Johnstone doing who knows what?
I probably think the first one, just because there are so many components in it. And even though he'd pulled off a couple of saves earlier on in the game. Johnson was fallible on the first one as well. So this just goes to show, we get, again, it's that position, goalkeeper, so crucial. We're just going to have that debate again of who's the best bad goalkeeper that we got to choose from, because the same old story that we've had with Johnson, we've had with Sarr, vice versa, in and out. You know, going to drop him, and we're going to see Sarr make some similar ricks at another point because they're so overworked throughout the remainder of the season. So I think the first one just goes to show how poor we are collectively, how individually exposed we can be, which is certainly a worrying sign. I think it was definitely a worrying sign throughout the game, in fact, that we were overrunning midfield with two effectively defensive midfielders. Like Andre is shockingly out of form. Krejci didn't really put any type of stamp on the game. Even when he did, he got booked, so couldn't do anything further than that. No one to put your foot on the ball, try and dictate play, try and slow play down even and look for a run. And where's the player that you want to have doing that is down the road playing for Birmingham City. So it's that just, again, you go in just full circle in terms of all the terrible recruitment decisions that have been made over and over. It always comes back to that one common denominator.
Chris, I feel like for as good as Andre was last year, he's done with Wolves. You can just tell he does not want to be there.
And, I think, and I hate to, put words in his mouth, and I think he does a great job on social media to paint a different picture, but I think Joao Gomez, you can lump him in there as well. I really felt bad to a degree with Andre giving up that goal and that pass, because if you go back and look at the tape, I rolled it back to see what the hell was going on. Tody's walking to him on his left side. He can't see him. And then Krejci's also walking. Casemiro, he looks up. He's looking for somebody to pass to. Nobody is square to him. There's no triangle opportunity there whatsoever. And Casemiro sees him look up again, and he blocks it, goes back, and that sets up the goal. And I look at this, just the laziness, the apathy. There's, to David here, David Fateg's point, go Gators, by the way, David, in the comments. There's just nobody playing for the badge right now. And I think that could end up changing in the second half of the season, strictly because they're going to be playing for a new job next year, and it's not going to be at Molineux, and they're going to want to earn an opportunity, and they're going to want to put some good tape down. And so that's the only way that I see this turning around and us picking up 3 points at any point this season, is if these guys actually give a shit for their future career. That's kind of how I see it. It's not for this team. It's got to be for the next one. And the laziness and the apathy, to your point, Josh, Andre's got to do the damn same. He's got to play for the badge in the moment to put the tape together so he can get the Brazilian call up, so he can have these opportunities to move on and play somewhere else. And ultimately, if I'm Rod Edwards and I'm going to play Mane and all the guys, the kids coming up, I'm going to tell these senior players, right, that have been veterans, start playing for somewhere else, boys, because here's your one chance. Put some tape down, send it to your damn agent, and let that be the proof in the pudding to get us a win.
I would like to see us just pay the fee to get Tommy Doyle back. Whatever to cancel that loan. Get Tommy Doyle back. And I feel like Andre, like you brought up the great point, he doesn't want to be here. I think he thinks he's going somewhere in January. No big club's going to want him looking like he's looked today in some of these other matches. Like, and guess what? Playing like that ain't going to get you on. It's not even going to get you a call up, let alone a starting role. I mean, just rough. I don't know. I don't know. What else is there to say about this?
But that's it. Gentlemen, I mean, Paul, you can speak to this, I think. I do not see anybody out there with the intellect. I'm not saying Tommy Doyle is the smartest player out there, but I don't see anybody with the intellect for passing. And even when I look at the statistics for passing, they're not terrible, but man, the turnovers look terrible. The passes look soft and terrible. The lack of effort. Do you see anybody intellectually smart? I'm not talking Joao Moutinho, but somebody out there who could lead this team and carry the ball who's intelligent?
No, there's no one in that team to pick a pass. They're not set up to, and B, there isn't a player that could put a through ball even.
Yeah.
That JSL could run onto on his preferred side, albeit his confidence is still shit or his level of performance is that crap that he'd probably fluff it anyway or try and trap it and bring it back and get tackled or trip himself up. But there's no one to there's no one to put those balls through. I think the only one who tried anything even inventive tonight and that didn't come off was Hoover. So if we're looking at Hoover for some raking crossfield balls, then my goodness, what level have we gone down to? We've gone from Cody being able to spring a pass out to Doc to flick it on to be in the final third to Hoover trying some Hollywood balls that typically get intercepted. It's just it's League One, never mind Championship. Jeez.
See,
Josh,
everybody should want Adama Traore back
just
now.
about to say it.
Yeah.
Just about to say it.
Y'all talking shit about Adama Traore all those years. Now you guys would beg to have him back.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, see,
Tip of my
Americans
tongue.
think alike, Chris.
There you go. That's funny.
I don't know if either of you two saw this. I guarantee you Minnie and Molyneux didn't because they were already out of the stadium, but I've got to give some credit to Matheus Cunha, Paul. A lot of goals. He didn't overly celebrate, didn't pull a Nuno. Nuno. You know who I'm talking about. Neto.
Pedro Neto.
And he walked to the South Bank. Not all the way, but he walked towards there by himself, clapped the fans, did a bowing down to them, and then clapped again. You know what? Let's quit with the Cunha hate. I know it didn't end well, okay, and I get it. He moved to Man, but honestly, can you blame anybody at this point for wanting to leave this shit show? Granted, Manchester United's a whole different type of shit show, but I felt like that was a really classy way for him to handle his return. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, what's done is done, and I think that type of behavior just goes to say like water under the bridge. Fair enough. I don't think he's done far too much to be welcomed back with open arms and having a standard ovation if they bought him off or anything like that to clap the fans in that respect. But yeah, I think if one thing he did have something about, even though the whole show is always about Matheus Cunha and it always was, he did have that realization of that there's something that feeds into it, and there's something that I feed into that with the fans, and by and large part there always was up to a certain point. So I think that's roundabout as fair as you can have it from both sides, really.
And I wouldn't be surprised if I think he misses the attention that he had at Wolves for the fact that he was the guy and he had a great relationship with the fans until the end. And he doesn't have that at Manchester United. Now he's getting a lot more money, and a lot more attention. But I do wonder, I think that was genuine, him clapping at the fans. I think he genuinely enjoyed his time here. He was too big for Wolves.
It was good PR for him again. And
he's good at PR.
Yeah,
he does know good PR.
Like the charity videos and the good causes and all of those. How could he be such a dick on the pitch when he was turning up at little boy's house with presents and all of that? So if it works, so
I saw that face, Chris.
Children of all ages, Paul. Let's go that way. Okay, he's not Michael Jackson. Yes.
I don't think he's on the list. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying he needs to be, revered like when Cody and Raul come into town. I mean, obviously that's completely different. Same with João Gomez. I think is going to be that type of guy. whenever he comes. But it was just good to see he didn't pull a Neto, especially in the freaking drumming that it was today.
Yeah.
Hey, Wolves also played a game. You know, when was that? I don't know. What day was that? No, last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday, yeah.
It's tough to keep track. It just seems like the same old story. A 1-0 loss at Forest. Paul Rob Edwards was not happy after that match, much like I'm sure he wasn't happy after this one.
I wouldn't be happy, and I think personally, when you're you're a glass half type, a glass full half type of guy, and thinking, maybe you get a win here, and you never know. You know, it's a long way back, but you never know. Win on here. You got Manchester United coming up at home as well. They're not the best. They're susceptible. Put 2 wins together, at least you might have had someone looking over their shoulders thinking, Wolves may do something. If there was anything definitive about how bad our season is and how bad our season will end up, it was that Nottingham Forest game, because they were shite. We were shiter.
Oh, yeah.
Our goalkeeper was appalling, yet we couldn't even test theirs. So Rob Edwards is pissed off, you know. What can you do, you know, when it's that bad? Like, does it all need ripping up and starting again, and him having a chance to rebuild it? You just hoping so, but you just don't want to go down this spiral of it getting worse each week and these players simply not performing unless he changes it drastically and make some really big calls and drop some senior players, so some bench players and maybe some kids, just to make a statement. You're going to start to worry whether he's going to be the guy moving forwards, just because some of these performances, even tactically, you know, especially against a Nottingham Forest side who aren't very good this season, who've been struggling, against Sean Dyche, who many will say, oh, well, he's a dinosaur. All he's been recruited for is to keep them up. My worry is if you've got any ounce of tactical and coaching nous, you'd have got something from that game. Might have been a point, but there would have been something to take from it. Having them rock up and leave with all 3, that certainly put the nail in the coffin as far as relegation for me. And is the first question of whether Edwards is cut out for it long term.
Yeah, Chris, do you think if these performances continue, people are going to have the patience for Edwards? I know everything's directed at Jeff Shee now, as it should be.
Correct.
But I do feel like our fans are not. I don't think soccer fans in general are patient, but
no, they're certainly not. And I would attest it to being an SEC fan, right? That's something more up your alley, Josh.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Could you imagine now? Wait, here's the big kicker. We've seen it the last couple of years in college football with the SEC. If you got a big enough contract, you can stick around for a while. Well, Rob Edwards' contract's not that big. Okay. So that was a big scare that was discussed when Rob came in. Was it worth the move for Middlesbrough to go to Wolves, knowing that they're on the brink of relegation and likely headed that way? And if they string together, too many losses, would it piss off the fan base enough? He's one of our own. And I think that's what they're trying to carry favor with. But to Paul's point, you got to start to see some improvement. And if the improvement has to come with the kids, I've heard on other podcasts, they talk about it. They're kind of over this group. So put in Chirewa, put in Mane, bring some kids up from U21 if you have to. Let's look at the long-term vision. Enzo Gonzalez, these guys, right? Let's start seeing what we're going to see in the championship. And if you can kind of foster some sort of potential there toward a winning culture, I think that's where Rob's going to be able to stick around and stay for a while. But if he sticks with the veterans who have been doing the same shit week in, week out with lackluster effort, I think he's really in trouble. And it's nice that he's close to his family in Birmingham, but he's going to be spending a lot more time with them there and not on the side of a pitch somewhere. So he's really got to figure that out over the next couple of months. And if that's the case come January, then bring in some kids, to Paul's point earlier, that are going to go down to the championship with you and you can work with.
Yep. And bring in Connor Cody.
Yeah.
He's got championship
I agree.
experience now.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Bring back Adama while you're at it, huh?
Hell yeah, man. I'd be for that. Although I still think Adama at this point should get MLS and just run wild. Paul, any other comments on these last two games before we get into the next one?
No, it's tough. It's tough for everyone right now. I have got comments, but it's just it's the worst, It's
yeah. It is definitely the Stewie meme where he's on the ground and the crib's all shattered and he's like, "This is the worst. I hate it here."
100%.
Well, let's look into, as Wolves look to get that first win of the year. They'll have a great opportunity Saturday when they play the first place team in the EPL, Arsenal. It is Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, maybe 4 p.m. Fort Lauderdale. Just kind of depends. I don't know. Paul, do Wolves have any chance in this match?
No, thanks. Move on.
I'm going to look up the odds here. So I'm looking them up live right now. What do you think? What is going to be your money line odds, Chris, for Wolves at Arsenal?
Josh, I am not a gambler, brother. I do not. It's not my thing. That's why I leave it up to you. That's why I call you and ask for the odds.
That is true.
But if I'm Rod Edwards, I will say, if I'm Rob Edwards, I would say this. You gave Villa hell for a half. Okay, let's string together 60 minutes of that. Villa just beat Arsenal, so let's see what you can do here with the Gunners and take it to them. They might be reeling right now. What don't they have? I was just looking it up. Don't they have a match midweek? So they play Club Brugge on Wednesday, and then us on Saturday. So hopefully they're a little tired from the Champions League, and then who knows? It's unlikely.
So the odds, money line.
Uh-huh.
Arsenal is minus 650. So that means you would have to bet $65 to win 10. Wolves plus 1,500. That means if you bet $10 and they won, you would win 150.
And thank
That's
you for
absurd.
breaking it down.
Huh?
Thank you for breaking it down for gambling dumbasses like me.
It's fine. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't, it makes it easier for everybody, but that's absurd. That's absurd. There's gonna be, I mean, honestly, I think that's like James Madison, Oregon odds for all of you college football fans out there. In fact, I bet it is. Hold on, let's see. Money line, James Madison. Actually, James Madison has a much larger chance to beat Oregon, according to odds makers, than Wolves do of Arsenal.
Holy shit.
James Madison money line is plus 1,100. So it's plus 400 more odds. That's absurd. It's absurd. I think even for people that don't understand betting can see just how absurd that is. Okay. Do you see any changes in the lineup, Chris, for this match?
The way Mosquera has been struggling, I have to wonder if he's going to get pulled out. The one thing I did realize, look at a couple of times today, Paul, and you could probably speak to this. It seemed like Rob Edwards was really trying to play a high line with his defense. And I think they got burned on it quite a few times, whether it was the Cunha goal with Andre on the bad pass. If you look at the Mason Mount goal in the replay there, Johnston's telling him to move up, move up.
Yeah,
that's when Mount charged in.
He's telling him move up, move up.
You could see, and even the second goal, I believe they're even trying to play a higher defensive line. So I wonder if he's going to shake up that back line a little bit with Toti. I think Agbadou's going to stay, but I think Mosquera is really in trouble because he has been he's been a letdown, and there's some disconnect there on that right side, whether it's Hoover or Chachua or Hoover or Chachua or Mosquera. They got to figure that whole side out because I don't even think it's good enough for the MLS right now. It's really terrible. It's trash. So if I could see a change, I think it's going to be on the back line.
I'd go if it was me, and I'm no tactico, and I don't even know if the square players of these would fit in the round holes, but if I was me, if I was the coach rather, I've got to look to get more creative, and I need another forward on the pitch, and I can't get that output from that back five, because it is a back five. It's not like you're playing with two wing backs, because Moller Wolf, he could be a fairly competent left back exclusive. He's not a wing back. You know, he probably won't be a fairly competent left back in the championship. He might be. He's going to be no Barry Douglas, or the memories of Barry Douglas, of left wing back. But if you've got him, who's not a wing back, you've not got that outlet on the right side. Someone tweeted like it was the perfect shit sandwich. It's like you bring Hoover off and put Chacha on. How can that even get any better?
Yeah.
Bring in Doc back, who said he can't play the position anymore because he's too old. So if you've not got the players or the positions, go away from 5 at the back, go 4-2-3-1, 3 attacking midfielders. They don't need to be wingers, A, because we haven't got them, but B, you can try and do something more through the middle of the park that way, and maybe get someone closer to Strand Larsen. So if it was me, I'd go that collection of centre backs across the back four. I'd go Mosquera right back, Bueno right centre back, Krejci left centre back, and Totti left back. Just you've got the pace still, apart from Breno. You shouldn't get beaten too much from those wingers if you have got that pace to rely on. Like Totti used to play that position for Lopetegui's team. So why can't he look at that? Have two holding midfielders with the Brazilians that just sit and try and advance, give João Gomez more license to bomb up and down, as a traditional number 8 should do, and just go for it. I'd rather lose 4-1 with a formation like that than lose 4-1 with 5 at the back and the dodgy keeper.
So are you bringing in Fur?
Yeah, whoever,
Fur,
fuck
baby?
it, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, because I don't know who we have that's.
I don't know. That's the problem.
Yeah, anyone with a pulse who's not Arias, because he can't do shit.
Oh.
I tell you, who reminds me of who I'd rather have starting is Simone Biles. At least she's won something. They're same height, you know. Simone Biles is much quicker, much more quicker acceleration, much more dynamic. I bet she could have finished that cross that he headed wide. So sign her in the window, Rob Edwards, and let's.
Well, there was that play today too, where Arias got the ball and he's just do, and here
he
comes
got robbed
behind him and just takes it. It's like,
it's like looking like what happened.
But I will tell you, I went and watched him in international play against New Zealand, and he wasn't bad. He was actually really good, and he worked the middle portion of the field. He went box to box. That's all he's allowed, right? So, and he came off the right side. But it was the accompaniment of players that were around him that made him that much more better and spread out the pitch for him to be able to operate. So it's just piss poor scouting is what it is. I mean, the guy, you could time him with an egg timer. He's so goddamn slow. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I hate to ask, but what do we have for predictions? By the way, the updated standings, Paul, you're tied with the guest spot with 6 because you are just way too positive when it comes to results here. Alex has 7 points. Danny has 10. And I have 14 points. Thanks for my one for United today. So, Chris, what you got?
Oh, Christ. I'm gonna go 3-1, and I'm just being generous. Sorry for the guest spot, but I hope it comes out for us. And that's Arsenal, by the way, obviously, not Wolves.
Yeah,
okay,
I figured
just
that.
making sure.
I'm sure we'll get Danny and Alex to post theirs online. They're both off today. So, Paul, What is your prediction? Are you gonna have a nice? Yeah, Wolves are gonna pull it out, or a draw, or
So when I set this show up to go live, when I schedule it, you can't schedule it on Facebook without putting a description in. So I put that description in, and I said we'll be covering the defeat against Notts Forest and Manchester United, and we'll also go on to preview the defeat at Arsenal. So I've told everyone we're going to lose already. So the only positivity I can put on that is somehow, some way, they get somewhat of a kick up the backside, or they're going to Arsenal that they know they've got nothing to lose, and it's that they're going to play the champions elect, even though Arsenal may always Arsenal, as they've been prone to. So I think if I could show any positivity, it's somewhat of a battling 2-1 loss.
2-1. That is pretty positive.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I have no positive thoughts at all. Hey, we scored. I think Drew Breyer brings it up again. No way Wolves score 2 games in a row. I think he's right. I think it's going to be 4-0, and that's probably because they're going to take their foot off the gas in the last. And hopefully there's the. I love how there was announced that it was 9 minutes of stoppage time, and both fans' faces. And even the announcers were like, "Yeah, I'd hate this if I was a." So
I mean, one positive to take away from this whole relegation thing is you can guarantee there won't be a Wolves USA tour, so we don't have to spend our money on that this year.
Or Premier League mornings at that.
Yeah, right.
Paul, do we have any no stupid questions?
We don't this week. Nothing in on our usual channels during the week. As you know, you can get in touch, ask us anything that you'd like about this wonderful football club of ours, which is Wolverhampton Wanderers. This can be done by email at hello@wholelotofwolves.com. We've got a form on our website to do that as well, wholelotofwolves.com to do it there. You can reach us on X at WLWpod, but we'll keep it going for a few minutes if there is anything that those watching along live on the YouTube stream or on Facebook right now would want to ask, then put it in there. We'll take it right away in the order that they came in. One question I want to find out or learn from tonight is: did you see the footage of the protest outside and someone shut the blinds?
Yes,
I'd love
to know who
yeah.
that was. If that was she, or if that was he made someone do that. I'd love to know who.
Yeah, he
was
doing something as lowly as turning the blinds down.
But would you though? Wouldn't you think that he's the type of guy?
Oh no, I think he's the type that would have somebody else do it.
I
Yes.
just thought. I thought, like, if it was any two characters, it would be Monty Burns looking out, wanting to know about the protests, wanting to know if they're aimed at me, and then he would tell Smithers to go and do it. So, yeah, Jeff Shee could be Monty Burns, knowing it's all about him.
I'm going to try to show this photo because I think from what I've seen on social media, this wins the night. The gentleman who put this on the back of his jacket.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. If you like presents, then Christmas is not for you, with Jeff Shee's face. That was a problem.
That is chef's kiss. Brilliant. Unbelievable.
If Wolves put that on their official store, it would sell out.
Oh my God,
they would probably make more money on that than they would on what they're going to make selling Arias to somebody.
I hope whoever created that is brilliant enough to make T-shirts for it and sell it at Christmas time for the holidays, and people wear it into Molyneux more regularly, because that is a dynamite shirt.
Yeah.
The other one I quite liked as well was the guy who made his own protest and started turning his back while the game was still going on. And that's
with the jester hat on. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
it would have been funny if his plumber's crack was hanging out though while doing it.
Yeah, they always focus in on those guys in the South Bank. Often the camera crews do. So That was quite poignant that it was him. So well done, that man.
Damn
Yes,
it,
sir.
Jeff Shee, you have taken out so many people's passion right now that we can't even get no stupid questions. What is going on?
But the other thing is, if you think of it this way, and Paul, you kind of alluded to this. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people taking their Saturdays back and Sundays back with their family. They're not going to want to waste their time. They'd rather sell their tickets at a discount maybe and just move on with their everyday life and focus on next year. And that's bad when that happens. Because if you can imagine it, what are we, 15 games in with 23 to play?
We're not even halfway through
Holy
this godforsaken season.
shnikes. Yeah.
Like TV audiences, sponsorship attached, overseas audience. Even I'm looking at stuff I've got potentially in January. Usually I'd go nowhere near anything on a Saturday morning because it's going to clash with the Wolves game. Now it's like open season. I might as well do stuff. Yeah. So it's like they just don't know like the ramifications of all this. And it even got magnified to me the other day. Was like on LinkedIn, I'll have to look up his name to do him service, but he always posts a lot about the international coverage and the Premier League searches that are generated by different countries. And lo and behold, guess who's still getting all the coverage from Mexico? It's Fulham. So doesn't that show you when they've got Raul at the World Cup draw, who's the player that was front and center when they induced the Mexico national team? It was still Raul. So doesn't that go full circle again to hammer home this shit recruitment strategy?
Correct.
That he was sold way too early because his wages were too much. And look what he's gone on to still contribute.
When he did not want to leave either.
Yeah, to Fulham and to bigger picture exposure-wise. Even at 30, what is he now? 33, 34. Would he be leading the line at Wolves? Yeah. Without a question.
But
he's think a better player right now than JSL.
Yeah.
But there's something obviously to that, not just in Mexico, but when they came here with the USA tour. The fact is, they were rather dumbfounded and astounded how well they actually drew, how many people were willing to travel. Premier League Live started that when they would do the travel, like Josh, you've gone to and I've been to. Paul, I believe you have. But I don't think Wolves knew that flavor and that taste was there for their product because it comes out of the Far East. And there's that great division between the two countries. So it's and I don't mean England, obviously, but it's just a problem. And I think both sides, more so on the ownership level, they need to understand it's a worldwide market and not just one particular part of the globe.
Yeah, I don't care. They don't care.
I know. For an investment company, they don't care about money, apparently.
They don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Chris, how can people get a hold of you?
It says it right there at Chris Fisher. Well, at Chris_Fisher. Sorry, I need my glasses, I think. But that's the current one until I get hacked again. So let's just roll with it. And
by the way, congratulations on the nuptials. We have a married man on the house. So congratulations. Yeah. Your Eagles are down 7-3 though. So
I'm watching right now, buddy. That's why my eyes kept peeking out and playing with the phone, getting text messages after losing to your Bears last week. I can't get kicked in the balls.
I took it
enough.
Easy on you. I took it easy on you.
That you have. I'm going to probably go for it. Actually, what was it? We played last Sunday. Was that right?
No, it was Black Friday.
Oh, Black Friday. That's right. Yeah, I just know I've been on a bad roll lately between the Eagles and the Wolves. It's not happy times. That's for damn sure. Yeah. And then I got married. So, yeah.
3 losses. Boom.
Got him.
I kid. Your wife's a beautiful lady.
Thank you.
Thanks to Danny on the socials. And this week, special thanks to Alex producing, as some of you may have picked up that he's been missing from our recent shows. And that's because there's been a significant transfer breaking news in that he's secured a prestigious move to a European giant for work. So he'll be very shortly relocating to Amsterdam. So he will still be producing behind the scenes, but his live appearances are going to be now contingent on when we record based on those time zones. So Alex, thank you from me personally. This show wouldn't be where it is now. And in fact, we might not have even had a show if it wasn't for you coming on board. So Godspeed with your travels. Wishing you every success with your move, both professionally in a work capacity and personally too with your wife.
Sorry, I missed you at Waxy's. he texted me the other day for the game, and I missed him for going to Waxy's to meet him for a beer when he was down here in Fort Lauderdale. But good luck, Alex.
And our audience, thank you. This show is for you. You'd be doing us a huge favor, helping to try and grow the Whole Lot of Wolves pack by giving us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform of choice, along with heading over to YouTube if you haven't done already, subscribing to the Whole Lot of Wolves channel there, liking our content on Facebook. We're going to be back around about the same time this week to cover what could be that bloodbath at the Emirates. And after that, we may take an extended holiday over the Christmas break. But in the meantime, everyone remember that owners, managers and players come and go, but the one constant at a football club is its fans. So up our and not Fosun's mighty Wolves.